Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 4, an impressive display by Arsenal, and on the other hand, not so good of a display from Bournemouth. But hey guys, my name is Izzy. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you are new to the channel so you can let YouTube know and everybody else know that you are enjoying this content. But now on to Arsenal and their performance today. After a very confusing performance against Tottenham last week where we saw some good things from Arsenal and we saw some negative things from Arsenal, this game was a lesson in possession and a lesson in absolute domination. Arsenal were the better team right throughout the game, and Bournemouth did not help them simply because they just did not look as though they were able to score at any point in that game. They did not really lay a glove on Arsenal. There was not a moment in this game when you thought to yourself, David Raya was really lucky to save that. A lot of notable things happened in this match. Kai Havertz scored his first goal, and I want to touch on that specifically because there is something special happening with the Arsenal fan base. And whenever you watch some of these fan cams after games such as Tottenham or in certain games when Arsenal don't play very well in recent years, there's been a lot of criticism aimed squarely at players, and fans have always seemed as though they are divided. But I do recall last season when William Saliba scored an own goal, and there was just something that was wonderful about the Arsenal fans when they began chanting his name, and they gave him this confidence to believe that he was part of the team and that he is the future and exactly what they want in defense. Ever since then, William Saliba's stature has grown in leaps and bounds, and he ended up being on the Premier League team of the season. And one thing I want to salute Arsenal fans, me being one of them, in that stadium was showing the exact same love to Kai Havertz. When Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka decided to give Havertz the ball for him to take that penalty kick, I think each and every Arsenal fan had a little wry smile on them. His performance up until then was composed. He didn't do anything super special. He kept things ticking. His passing was safe, a little bit predictable. But that moment might have just been the moment that Kai Havertz needed to kick on and now show everybody who exactly he is. And the big cheer that went around the away stand when he grabbed that ball and put it down and slotted it coolly past Neto in the Bournemouth goal is a moment that I think we were going to be looking back at and seeing the rise of Kai Havertz. For the vast majority of the game after that, Arsenal fans had only one name in their mouths, and that was Kai Havertz. And they sang with immense pride at their new player. And you always hear about away fans and how they can make a lot of noise when they go into stadiums. I can't remember a game that I've watched on TV where the away fans made so much noise above everything else. I think even the commentators mentioned it, that they just kept on singing his name. It was fantastic to see. And for how toxic the Arsenal fan base has been in the last 20 years, a lot of it warranted, simply because we saw the gradual decline of a manager who is a legend but was not backed suitably, and some of the fans who turned on him despite some of the good work that he had done over the last 20 years and looked at him as though he was a villain. And I'm going to put myself in that box as well, because we didn't understand a lot of the politics that were going on in the dressing room and in the boardroom. But it is a beautiful thing to see now when Arsenal fans can now congregate and uplift a player who you can so clearly tell is so low on confidence and who needed that goal. And the fact that it came when Arsenal were comfortable enough is another thing, because I don't believe they would have given him that opportunity to score when it was probably 1-0 or 0-0. But the fact that they shared that with him is going to do him an immense amount of good. And that is all a player really asks for. They just back him until he gives you a reason not to back him. He is still new in this Arsenal project, and he still has the ability to offer a lot more. And judge him based off of a season, not off of 4 or 5 games, especially coming off of a season where he has had a very torrid time switching managers back and forth, switching formations back and forth. I think Kai Havertz might be able to kick on from this now. But as far as the game was concerned, Arsenal were very comfortable. Bournemouth were flat. They did not offer much going forward. The confidence that's going to come from this game is going to do Arsenal a world of good. Next week, we know they face Manchester City, who just happened to lose 2-1 away to Wolverhampton Wanderers. And maybe Arsenal can take a leaf out of the book of Wolves' play today, because Wolves were fantastic defensively. Arsenal wanted that clean sheet, and you can tell that they were going to do anything and everything to get it. It's a good thing to see the back four now stabilized, because you see Gabriel and Saliba now knitting that defensive combination that we saw worked so well for them last season. It's such a good thing to see, because Saliba is more of the sweeper of the two, and he only seems to go in for challenges when he really needs to. Gabriel is pretty much more of the front line, and he's the person who will push forward and try to attack the defender first. Zinchenko was pretty good in this game. He seemed to play a lot more in midfield. That was how strong Arsenal's control was over this game. And Saka went off a little bit injured, but this is something we've seen from him before. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to keep him out of the Manchester City game next week. Odegaard was good. He was very visible in this game. And overall, I think everybody that came on from the substitutes bench also played their part. Fabio Vieira, I think, is also growing in his confidence in the team. And it's good to see him being able to assimilate a little bit more of a playmaking role when he comes in. I think that his passing is very underrated. And I think if he keeps on developing at the same pace that he's developing, as well as I think he needs a little bit more physicality, because he does look frail somewhat, but if he is able to build on that, and if he's able to get somewhat of the strength of Saka, because Saka is very good at shielding and holding the ball. If Fabio Vieira is able to develop that, I think he could kick on and become a very top player. That aside, I do think that Arsenal did miss something on their left-hand side. I do think that it is very important for Martinelli to come back into this team, and for Jesus to slot back into the false nine. And Nketiah did well to get his penalty. He doesn't imbue me with too much confidence when he is in a position to where it has to be a one-touch finish. He is one of those players who has to take a couple of touches before he releases the ball. And as I've said in my previous North London Derby review, I think that that is something that Arsenal are lacking when it comes to the really top sides. They just don't seem to have that one-touch striker who is going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. But overall, a very good performance by Arsenal. It was great to see them embrace Kai Havertz, and I think that this is going to be a watershed moment in his career and something that he can look back on, and now he can finally start feeling the love of Arsenal fans all around the world, because most football fans, even in the neutral, want to see him do well. They want to see him reprise that form that he had when he was in Bayern Munich, and that small purple patch that he had under Thomas Tuchel a couple of seasons ago. But that's my review of this game. Not much to talk about. Arsenal were very dominant. Bournemouth were poor. They just looked defeated before they even came out of the tunnel. But let me know what you think down there. It's been your boy Izzy. It's Soccer Saturday, and I will catch you on the next review. Peace.